Welcome to another episode of Call to Marriage. I'm Marcia.
And I'm Thomas.
And today we are going to talk about Nti's birth.
That's right.
It's been a while since we since we quoted a scripture at the beginning of our podcast, but I always think of this scripture ever since I sort of really took it in. I couldn't soon forget it, especially now that I'm a mother. So, John chapter 16, verse 21. A woman, when she is in labor, has sorrow because her hour has come. But as soon as she has given birth to the child, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. Amen. I probably quoted the same scripture when I was telling Charlie's story.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyway, so, we're just going to casually chat and, recall the memories while they're still somewhat fresh. Nti is 3 months now.
Yeah, Nti's our second child.
Yes.
So, for context, yeah.
Yes, son number 2, baby number 2.
Right.
So, it was a fine Friday.
What in the world? It was a Friday.
It was a Friday. And, I had been having contractions throughout the week, but they were not regular per se anyway. So, and they were mild. Yeah. So I didn't really think much of them, but I did sleep uncomfortably Thursday night into Friday, probably Wednesday night into Thursday too, but I survived. But Thursday night into Friday was really like where I woke up Friday morning and was like, I remember asking you whether you could stay home from work.
I could take the day off or at least work from home. I remember that.
Yeah. No, it was Thursday. That was Thursday morning. He was born Friday.
Oh, yeah.
4:00 in the morning. Okay,
True.
so I'm getting the timelines wrong.
Jeez, and you even came to pick me up from work.
Yeah, on Thursday.
You drove through the traffic with all the discomfort to pick me up from work. And then we came home. We went to get water. There was church leaders meeting.
Oh, Jesus.
No. It's just, it was like, it's like a floodgate open in my brain. And I'm like,
telling the whole story.
Oh my gosh. Oh, man.
Okay, maybe I'm being too long. Maybe we can find a balance here.
Okay, I'll slow down a little bit. But I just remember that day. Yeah, when you came to pick me up.
Right. So you were working in the office on Thursday, and I was like, oh, I really, is there any chance you could stay home? I think I really feel tired or and in pain and whatever, uncomfortable, whatever. And you were like, how about I just do this day and I'll stay home tomorrow? Because none of us thought the baby was going to come. As intense as things were feeling, I didn't realize how close I was. So I went through the day as usual. I visited my pastor from my church that I grew up in, which was such a lovely time.
Childhood pastor.
My childhood pastor. And he, they spoiled me, him and his wife, and I had a wonderful time with them. Then Charlie and I went to pick up Thomas from work, which is a long commute, by the way. I was contracting all the way there and all the way back.
So much traffic.
And yet I still was just trying to get stuff done. So you were in the meeting in the car, in a Zoom meeting for church, I think. So I was like, all right, well, since you're still in this meeting, let me see what I can do. Charlie might have even dozed off or something.
He did.
So, so I was like, okay, what did I do? You said I went to the grocery store. Did I go to the grocery store?
So we went to get water. When we passed by the ATM. Oh. And then I think we stopped by Shaw's or somewhere. We run a few errands.
Yeah, we ran a few errands. We got home at 9:30 maybe?
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Pretty late. And then around 10 o'clock, my water broke. Yeah. Maybe.
So it all, happened fast.
Yeah, 10:30.
You went from just a little discomfort to, maybe we should just start getting ready because, it feels like The baby might be on his way. At least by tomorrow, we will be able to know. Then, no, the baby is coming. Like, we really need to, call the midwives and get ready for the baby. I think this baby is not wasting time.
When I got home, I really didn't feel great. And then 10:15 bloody show, not my mucus plug came out. Not the my water hadn't broken yet. My water broke at 10, so that was like 10:15, 10:30, somewhere around there. And my water broke like midnight 12:15, something like that. So when the bloody show happened, I don't think that's when I called the midwives. I guess I called them when my water broke.
Yeah.
And asked them to come.
We started texting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were texting them, letting them know the updates and everything. But once my mucus plug came out, that's when things ramped up. Like immediately, the contractions got more intense, and it was tough.
What's a mucus plug? I'm just assuming, especially there'll be maybe some other men listening to this.
Fair.
And they wouldn't know, anything about what we are talking about. So it'd be a great, point of education for people listening who don't know about, things pertaining to childbirth.
Yeah, I don't even know how to define contractions either, by the way. So I'm gonna just like define contractions in my own way, all these terms in my own way that will
basic way
hopefully make sense. So contractions are basically like these forces, these surges of like, I feel like a life force that just like propels your baby in the direction that it needs to go, to enter into the world, so to speak. I don't know. That's how I would define contractions. So they're these like tightenings of the abdomen or of the womb that, I don't know, it's all good work that pushes your baby, toward entry into the world. So something like that.
I imagine it as something, it's like an elastic force that compresses and relaxes, right? Like it.
Sure. They describe it as like a wave. So
right.
It's like you enter and then like the contraction, it gets to like a peak and then it kind of like descends or decrescendos or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah, and then the mucus plug is mucus that plugs the entry of the uterus, exit. I don't know, but yeah. Or no, the cervix. Sorry.
All right, biology 101.
Yeah, I believe it's the cervix. So that
I think it's the cervix.
Yeah, you can edit it if it's wrong. Edit it in the video somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that like nothing can enter, like bacteria and things like that, to compromise your womb. And I think also so nothing exits either, like amniotic fluid and things like that. You won't be leaking or anything until that mucus plug comes out.
It's very protective.
Yes, it's it's protective of your womb. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So once that comes out, then anything can happen.
Yep.
And I guess some people they don't know when it happens, but for me, I always know, or it has been my experience with my 2 children that I see it happen and I know that, and it like begins a process, like it begins active labor. That's like the sign that active labor has commenced for me.
Yeah. Just like a visible milestone.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Clear indication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, that was like about midnight, then my water broke around midnight ish. And then I wish I had my phone for like the timeline of all this stuff, but in any case, I had the baby by 4, but the midwives came, I don't know, after midnight sometime.
Midnight, yeah. Somewhere between 12 and 1.
Mm-hmm. And it was a long 4 hours, even though everybody afterward, when I told them the story, were like, girl, you birthed so quickly. It's because the day was just so long, because my strategy, game plan or whatever is to just go about life as normally as possible until I cannot anymore. That is like my whole...
That's not a bad strategy though.
That's my whole game plan. So I was doing life all day long and I was pooped. Like I was ready to like have a full night's rest, and then I was in so much pain and discomfort that I couldn't sleep, you know. I was in active labor, so I had to be laboring after, you know, a whole day of sort of that led me to a point of exhaustion.
Yeah. Isn't that very descriptive of the second coming of Christ?
Is it?
It is. I mean, you would think, oh, you know, I'm going to get some rest, and here he comes. You would think, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm going to have my baby. I'm going to get married. I'm going to harvest my field, and he'll be here already. And you would forget about your rest, you and your farm, you and your marriage, and whatever. It just comes upon you.
It was a very difficult labor for me for a couple reasons. That was one of them, you know, and I think with Charlie was born on a Wednesday at 11:30 p.m. So it's like I labored all day, had him at 11:30 and was able to sleep through the night. But this time it's like I labored through the night and had my baby at the crack of dawn. So it was quite difficult for that reason. It was also difficult because I was in the poorest shape of my life, to be honest. Heaviest I've been ever. So I think I lacked physical strength. I think physical strength helps you to labor well.
Yeah.
Because especially when you think about positioning and stuff, like I enjoy being in a squatting position. I find that helpful.
Yeah.
Even being on my knees, like holding on to something, which I would need arm strength, you know, back and shoulder strength, everything, like core strength. I don't know. So I think, yeah, the better shape you can be in to have children. I mean, it's good to be fit just for life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that applies to pregnancy and birth too. I think being in shape helps your birth experience.
Yeah.
So I do think that also made labor harder.
Yeah. I think, with, everything, it just helps with your stamina. Because it's so enduring. Like it's a process. So it builds up, and it's like running a marathon, right? You don't necessarily need to be the fastest person, but you need a lot of stamina to be able to keep going through the night. So when your stamina is weak or you don't have enough stamina, you feel more tired, right? And then everything becomes so long because your endurance is waning. Is that how you felt? You felt like, of course you did it, but it's like your physical strength. You wish you had more stamina to just brace whatever was happening in your body, which I think you had with Charlie. You were in a much better shape. You worked. At the time, you moved a lot throughout the pregnancy, so you had built enough stamina to just go through it. Coupled with the fact that it was your first time too. So I feel like that's the way I saw you. I felt like, oh yeah, and you literally told me, you're tired.
Yeah, I just needed strength, and I was praying the Lord.
So I played that song for you.
I was praying to the Lord for strength. What song did you play? I don't even remember.
Phil Thompson's is it Be My Strength? I don't know
whether
that's the title, but
the
song says Be My Strength, oh Lord.
Yes, it says be my strength. Father, light the way, be my present help. You're my God. When I'm overwhelmed, lead me to the rock. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. You're my God. Yeah. So, yes, that's a great song. Thank you. Phil Thompson is just a wonderful songwriter.
Yeah.
And a wonderful person. Anyway, so...
I like his songs too.
So, I was tired.
You were tired. You definitely were tired.
Thomas did the best that he could to support me. He also is our, sort of historian. He tried to document what he could, media-wise, like with the camera. And the midwives also tried to support me as best as they could. I think I was a little bit of I like to sort of just be in my own world, I guess, like go within. and be sort of undisturbed or less disturbed. But I also like help. So they were pretty good at that. Quiet help, not too much interference, not too much, conversation. Yeah. It was the middle of the night. It was quiet.
To strike a balance. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate my midwives a lot.
I think really they're so good. They're just excellent. Okay.
I had one, the student midwife was a Christian and she was praying for me.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that.
Yep. I remember that too.
Rofi. All right. The moment of what's the word? The moment we were all waiting for. So
the climax.
The climax. I was very tired, as we said, and I must have dozed off. Like
You did.
I was wanting rest. Rest wasn't finding me, but it finally, came upon me. And I feel like I woke up to pushing. Like I woke up to that, to like go time. Yeah. So I got those feelings of like, okay, it's time to eject this child from my body. And, ring of fire, the burn of the head coming out,
Yeah.
And that also felt longer than with Charlie to my remembrance. It felt longer. It wasn't that long still, but it was like a couple pushes to get the head out, to get NT's head out, and then another push.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was even more than one, but to get the rest of him out.
Between 3 and 4. I would have to watch the video again, but
yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So I pushed him out. And and I was so frail. My one of the midwives, caught him and immediately tried to give him to me. She's like, "Here, hold your baby." And I took the baby and I just immediately put him down because I was just so tired. I couldn't even what's the word, like think about positioning,
maneuver.
Maneuver. Thank you. Like I couldn't even figure out how to maneuver to like turn myself around, grab the baby, whatever. Yeah. So and that
he peed as soon as he came out. So that's as soon as he came
out. We didn't know his gender until he was born. So once he peed, it was like, that he announced his gender by peeing into the sky, and and that was the birth story. So yeah, he was a cute boy.
Yeah.
The smell. Okay, so a couple of things. Firstly,
I thought you weren't going to talk about that.
I birthed him in the bed and on the bed. For those who are wondering, we didn't get a chance to set up the pool because we didn't have the right adapter for the hose. Oh well, maybe it's not meant to be for me, this whole water thing. Maybe it also would have. I heard that it can maybe slow things down a little bit, and as tired as I was, maybe it wasn't the best thing for me. God knows best. Maybe he set me up. I don't know. And maybe it was just my lack of diligence to test the water hose in advance. But anyway, so and when he was born, I felt like he smelled like cigarettes. I told Thomas he smelled like cigarettes, but that was just my nose. Like nobody else perceived that.
Tobacco.
Yeah. Did you smell it? I thought I asked you, did it smell like that? And you didn't.
No, I did say that.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, you did say that. I think you did.
It's like tobacco leaf. Not necessarily like the small cup cigarette, but just the smell of tobacco.
I guess. Guys, I don't smoke tobacco. I don't smoke anything at all. Nothing.
It was like that.
I've never smoked in my whole life,
but I felt like it was just, I don't know, the fluids and all that. It's just, it wasn't like exactly tobacco smell, but it just gave
that's
tobacco
just like the nearest thing that we can
could compare it to.
Right.
But it wasn't exactly tobacco smell, but it just kind of reminded us of tobacco. Like tobacco.
Lord. Anyway.
Nobody's smoking in this house.
Nobody smokes in this house. So that was interesting. And it was a different smell than when Charlie was born.
Absolutely. I still remember Charlie's smell too.
You do?
I do.
I don't know if I do.
Yeah.
But it was definitely better. It wasn't tobacco.
Listen, this kid, he's wild. He's very strong.
Yeah,
He
maybe
came
it's
with
indicative of who, because he did
some
come with
level of,
force.
yeah, he's got his own charisma. He's got his own sort of force.
Neither of my kids came out with any vernix. They came out fully baked, like strong, healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Away from the tobacco.
And a lot of blood as usual as well.
Yeah.
Comes with a lot of blood. Placenta. I was able to deliver the placenta without tincture, because the last time I needed a tincture to help.
You want to explain what that is?
So after
the whole process of the placenta coming out.
With Charlie, so the baby comes out, they're attached to an umbilical cord, which is attached to the placenta. So here's the baby, there's this long cord here, and here's the placenta. So baby comes out of the womb, and the placenta is still in your abdomen, attached to in your womb, like attached to your uterus. So it also needs to be delivered, like it also needs to be birthed.
Yeah, it needs to come out.
Yes. And with Charlie, it was struggling to come out. After a while, the midwives asked me if I would like to try a tincture, which I believe a tincture is like basically like an alcohol-based like remedy, like a
concoction.
Yeah, like an herbal concoction. Yeah. And so, I just like took like a small bit under the tongue, and that actually helped, I think. Because my placenta was delivered soon after. But this time I did not need to do that. The baby came just fine, or the placenta birthed fine. And
another fun fact, I forget what they called it, but he had a knot in the
I think they call it a true knot or something like that.
Rufi said it, but I don't remember. I think I even recorded it, but so somewhere in the the cord, the umbilical cord was a knot, like it was knotted, which I guess is not that common.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, they said it's not like the norm, but every now and then you come across one like that. And I don't know, like I told you, this kid, he came with his own charisma. He came with some kind of strength, and I guess it also goes with his name too.
I hardly remember that, but I remember listening to a podcast about grief with baby loss and things like that, and they were just talking about the whole mystery of childbirth and how sometimes a knot can be the death of the child. But very often the knot is exactly as
So I think that's what makes it, I guess, special is the word I'll use, because it can go both ways. So when the child does survive and they come out, they're strong, and you still see the knot, it's part of the mystery. It's like it's knotted, but he's good. So but it wasn't like a really tight knot or anything, but it was there's a knot.
Yeah, I mean, we give glory to God. Mysterious. It's interesting when you cut through. I mean, now I'm just imagining, God is wise. The material of the texture of the cord is so sort of, it's very like stretchy or something, but it's very also elastic. Firm. Yeah, it's very elastic, but it's also very firm. And the lines that run through, there's like 3 lines that run through, I don't know, arteries, whatever they are. I'm not sure the name. Yeah, tissue. Tubes. Yeah, whatever. I'm not sure the names, but yeah, they're very small.
So you're talking about the cross section of the tube.
Yeah, when you do a cross section of the cord, yeah, they're very small. So I can see where you could have a knot and it doesn't necessarily affect the flow,
right?
Because of the texture, like the elasticity of the cord. I don't know. It's just. All I have to say, glory to God. He's really amazing, and
he's wise. He's mysterious.
Oh, listen, yes.
We don't know jack about any of the things we're talking about. We just witness it. We just experience it as it happens to us. We can't really explain what is going on right from conception. We can't. We try. We make attempts. We come up with concepts, with theories, and we do tests, and we see this, we see that. All we can do is just observe, and we can't really explain what is happening and why it's happening and what's inducing what. It's so intricate that it's honestly representative of the nature of God. You can't really make him out. You can't figure him out. You can only experience him and give thanks for whatever the experience it is. Childbirth, labor, delivery, conception, all of that, put together is even raising up a child is like that. Yeah.
So yeah, deliver the placenta.
Yeah.
Did the usual inspection of the placenta. It's always a wonder to just even see like, wow, this is the thing that was like providing all the sustenance to my child that was connected to me and connected to my baby. So strange.
It is strange. I looked at it and I always ask questions, to the midwives explain, and it's really, really interesting. Rufi said a number of things. I can't even remember them, but she explained, I think they call it the tree of life. Those are they veins or arteries? I don't know what they are, but they form some kind of tree of life, and it's right. It's like a network, a node, like complex system of interconnected ducts communicating, and it's connected to both of our DNAs. Like she explained it eloquently. I just can't remember it. And I thought, oh, that is fascinating.
If you guys would like to hear this properly spoken about, we can invite the midwives on one day in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Because they did say they were open to that. So we can try and get one or two of them on.
They're brilliant.
Yes, they are brilliant.
Yeah.
So the placenta
comes
checked
out.
Serafina checked all the, vitals of the baby. Yeah. Everything was good. I don't know if I'm skipping anything. I couldn't latch the baby the first night. Disappointing. I asked for my little quiet golden hour of time, and I tried to latch my baby, and I could not. So that didn't go as planned.
The breastfeeding,
Yeah, that was tough.
Started out a little rough.
It did start out a little rough, but I got help as soon as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And we're smooth sailing now. Praise the Lord.
If you haven't seen our video or episode on breastfeeding, you should go watch it. Very insightful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just the trail, the postpartum journey began at that point, the journey to healing at that point, and just enjoying the baby. And, my mom came over the next morning. Well, not like a few hours later, because we birthed at 4. So she was over by maybe 8 o'clock or.
Yeah.
And brought us breakfast, and then T was, brought into the world.
Became a part of us.
And it's like he's always been here.
Yeah. And on my part, I remember, texting my job, like, I'm not coming back, guys. My leave has officially begun. So
Friday.
It was Friday. And then, we went through the paperwork, just took care of what I had to take care of on my side of things as far as my parental leave is concerned. So
not too much detail on that. Podcast coming.
Yeah, from the father's perspective, there's a lot to be said there. So if you guys are interested, if you're a man and you're interested, that's something we can talk about, and I'm happy to share my experience with you. So I took a 3-month parental leave and actually started work 2 days ago. So there's a lot to be said in there as far as being a support to Marcia and to the family, and just being home for 3 months and all of that. But you let us know if you're interested in that.
Whether you're interested or not, I'm sorry. A podcast is coming on that. So, you can just skip that one if you're not interested, but we will talk about.
I hope you are, because
paternity
it's very
leave
important.
And really just kind of like the role of the father, and sort of like the beauty of having that time as a family when a baby's first born, I guess. But so that one's coming probably right after this one.
All right.
Yeah. And
so how do you feel now? It's been 3 months.
Feel a whole lot better. Oh, I didn't tear this time. Healing was much better this time.
Yeah.
I felt strong. My mom was like, "You do not look like you just had a baby."
I know. We went out to the touch truck. Was it a week or two?
Oh, to the touch truck event. Yeah, like a week.
Yeah, it was
two.
like a week or two. Maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah, so it was good. And I think
that was like right down the road. We just wanted to get out, get some fresh air. It was hard, when I say I was strong, that's relative to the fact that I just had a baby. But I did. I felt pretty good, especially compared to the first time that I gave birth.
And now you started working out. So
I'm working out, I'm taking it easy, but trying to get fit, regain strength, because I would like to have more children and I don't want to be weak. I need to be strong, not just to birth more children, but also to take care of the children I already have. And so, our body is the Lord's temple. We must take care of it. And it's high time that I address my physical fitness. So that's the journey that I'm on now. It's been an on and off journey, but it was mostly off between Charlie and Inti. But before that, I was fairly active. Things I was thinking about in postpartum was like, when do I sort of like reintegrate back into society and how? Especially when you're a breastfeeding mother, I feel like it's, just there's, you have to get used to things and sort of establish your breastfeeding relationship with your child before you can sort of get into society again. And, it affects the clothing you wear and things like that. And so, and then I was like curious about, I still haven't done like a study on this, but I was curious about what the Bible had to say about like the amount of time you should set aside before you sort of reintegrate. So what is it, how long should I stay away from church? And, which is like the only reason why I say church is that's kind of like the most frequent, consistent place that we go, outside of work. I don't work, and then he was on paternity leave, so the only other place we really go consistently is church. So it's like, okay, when are we going to go back to church? Things like that. And like the postpartum journey could also potentially be its own podcast. Doesn't have to be, but if that's something that interests you guys, like the details of like healing, products that I used or things that I did or whatever to, in the first 6 weeks, I can talk about that. And then there should be, I hope, a breastfeeding part 2 coming as well. So if you're curious about like what it's like to breastfeed in the early days and tips and things like that, that could be another podcast episode as well.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I think the first one was really good. I genuinely enjoyed it. Yeah.
So, okay, so we don't have to make this too long, that's the story. That is the story. I really do feel like I'm missing stuff, but I don't know. You guys will let me know in the comments.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions. We would be happy to share our experiences with you to help you on your own journey. So feel free to ask questions, whether you're there, whether you're anticipating to be there, whatever it is, just air it out and let's talk about it. So that's what we're here for. You don't have to get there necessarily to start asking questions. You can begin asking questions just to understand a little bit more and, get yourself in it and start, acquiring knowledge. Even for men, start asking questions, what do you do? Your wife has a baby. I think we're going to do a podcast about my experience. I won't get too much into it, but there's a whole lot of things to consider, right? How long is it going to take before you go back into being intimate? And a lot of men don't know that, and then it just hits them. It's like, well, I can't go without it. Like, what do you mean it's going to take 6 months? I can't wait. Like stuff like that. So these are the things that we don't usually know about before getting into marriage and having babies and all that, but they're all relevant, and sometimes they break marriages for lack of understanding and preparation. So we want to be able to equip you to handle that like a champ, if you like. Yeah, so let us know if you have questions. Share your own experiences as well, how your own childbirth journey went with your husband or with your wife. We interested in your stories as well, and we would love to read what you have also been through.
I have 2 final words for the end of this podcast.
Sure.
My first final word is, speaking of gentlemen, I don't know where this fits in this podcast or in a future, so I'm just throwing it into this one. It's not been my experience. By the grace of God, I have an amazing husband in you. You were great to me. Yes, you deserve all your flowers and everything. You did amazing. And my pregnancies and births have been very positive. But I have heard countless women talk about ways they felt neglected, mistreated, mishandled, misunderstood, and so forth by their husbands while they were pregnant and birthing their husband's child. I mean, their child, together. But my point being, that child is your child. So you should treat the person carrying your child, with utmost respect and honor and tenderness and care. I've heard countless women just say how that, like, the way that their husbands mistreated them during or neglected or whatever during their pregnancies is something that's like a lasting mark in, like, it's hard for them to forget. It's hard to forgive. It's hard to move on. Yeah. It's like this indelible mark in the marriage. So I say that to say, husbands, if you've listened this far, if you've made it to the end of the video, please treat your wife with the utmost care. Treat her like a delicate flower. That's what I always say. I feel that women, pregnant women, ought to be treated like a just a precious, a precious rose or something,
Yeah.
And just, I know she might have cravings, she might have little moods or whatever. Just do the best you can. Do the best you can to support her. And then I'm not making excuses for women to act anyhow, but I'm just saying that message is for husbands. Husbands, be mindful how you treat your wives when they're pregnant. They do not forget. And my second thing is, to the husband and to the wife, trust the Lord. Trust the Lord. I don't care if you gave birth at home. I don't care if you gave birth at a hospital. You had midwives, you had OBGYN, you had nurse, you had this, you had that. Doesn't matter the variables of your pregnancy, labor, delivery. Trust God first. God is the doctor. He is the great physician. He is the master of this sacred and mysterious process that we call conception, pregnancy, labor, birth. So he's a master creator, master designer. Nobody knows it like him. Nobody can guide you through it like he can. Trust in him. Look to him. He's our help. He's our stone of help, Ebenezer. And I also want to throw this in there. Someone might ask again, if you're watching this far, where was Charlie in all this? Charlie was home being a wonderful boy, checking on me during labor, being a sweet, boy. He didn't interfere over interfere, things like that. He just wanted to be there for his mom.
Yeah.
But he was tired and couldn't make it to the birth. He fell asleep before. He did his best. He was up at midnight, but he didn't make it to 4 a.m. So
no, he didn't.
He was asleep when NT was born.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, it had been a really long day for him too. So he was tired. Yeah. He gave the midwives a show. He played his guitar, he played his keyboard, he played his drums, he sang. He did all that for them. And then he got tired and fell asleep. So he woke up and his brother was already here. Yeah.
That's it for me.
All right. So on behalf of all husbands, we heard you and we are going to do better. Husbands, don't let me down. I'm doing this on behalf of us. Okay. We will do better. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Seek to understand, seek to be involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely best and enjoyable when done together. This is how it's meant to be, right? It's not just a woman's thing. And then when you have the baby, just let me know. That's not how it works. It's my baby. I am equally responsible and I care. I'm just not in a position to birth the baby or breastfeed the baby, but hey, I care about the well-being of the baby in different ways.
It's like a role reversal. Like generally the woman is the helper to the man, but in this case you're playing the supporting role. Like you're the helper and you got to be present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So seek to work together. It's the perfect time to die to yourself, let your guard down, be very compassionate toward one another or to each other, and just care for each other. It's the perfect time to just forget about yourself. Just forget about you and what you want, and you might want this. It's a great opportunity to serve and display Christ likeness like none other time. So take advantage of that, and seize the moment, be Christ-like, be compassionate, be loving, be caring, and grow in that. After that season, you would notice how much you've grown as a person. And I think it's beautiful that God gives us all these little opportunities to, become the sons that He's called us to be. So, yeah, go and do better. I will do better too. Yeah. All right. Thanks for being with us. See you in the next one. We love you.